Yeah, all right. Welcome, welcome. This is Coach Marjorie B, and I'll be taking you through the mindset morning. And today we are going to be looking at something very important. You know, the four ways we can make money. Guys, this is a cash flow quadrant, and I'm sure that you've probably seen a version of this quadrant somewhere before now or not. But essentially, it explains the four ways that we make money. And it is important that when you're playing the game of money, you actually know the quadrant that you're playing the game of money from, because whichever quadrant you choose to play the game of money from will decide whether you're going to become financially free or you're going to keep struggling. Now, there are four quadrants, in the cash flow quadrants, showing four ways to make money. And I think Robert Kiyosaki has actually done a great job explaining this. Now, the first quadrant there is you as an employee, where you work for someone. And from statistics, 60% of the entire population actually work for someone. That's, you're a salaried person. You go to work, you exchange your time for money. At the end of a period, whether it's daily, weekly, or bi-weekly or monthly, you get paid, a salary, a wage. That's your income. That's where you're working, for someone. Now, the thing with trading time for money is that you cannot be financially free trading time for money only. Now, there we have now the second category of people who are who call themselves entrepreneurs, business people. And essentially, these are people who are, you work for yourself. You own a small business, you run your own business, but essentially, what you have, what you're doing is that you're trading your time for money still. The difference between you and the person, the employee who works for another person, is that that person, that employee is answerable to another person, but you're answerable to yourself. But essentially, you're doing the same thing. You are still trading time for money. Why? If you're not able to go to your job, you can't make money for that day. If you're not able to open shop and do your business, get on and do your business, you're not able to earn for that day. It simply means that if you don't make some form of input, you're not able to get an output, which is money. So if you don't do some work in your business, if you're not present, you cannot earn. And unfortunately, we have that if you add these two quadrants, the employees are 6%, and then those who work for themselves, 35%, it makes up 95%. 95% of the population. And I've seen this myth and rhetoric where people keep saying that you have to be a business owner, for you to be successful, that you cannot be a successful person, working for other people. But unfortunately, most people that are saying this are not actually true business owners in that sense. That you own a business does not make you a business owner. I'm going to get to define who a business owner is, so you essentially understand, where what exactly you're doing. So we have 95% of these people, and then they are actually everywhere. I mean, you look for a job, get a job, you need extra money, start a small business. 95% of the population is doing the same thing. And we know this theory of if you're doing the same thing as everyone else, don't expect to get a different result from what everyone else is getting. So that leaves us, out of 100%, that leaves us with just 5%. Now, 5% of the quadrant, 5% who are these 5%, in this group. Now, 4% out of this 5% in the quadrant are business owners. Business owners, and I would say the real business owners. Now, who is a business owner? A business owner is someone who owns a business system, or who has plugged into a business system that does not require him, to be present, him or her. It does not require you to be present before you can make money. Now, the business owner has a system where other people, he's working with other people's time. Other people are bringing together, pulling their time together, pulling their skills together, pulling their mental resources together, pulling all their resources, their strength together to work in the system that a business owner has created, and to generate income, revenue in that system. The business owner does not have to be present in that business system for things to run. You have the business owner, and you have the COO, the chief operating officer, who is not necessarily the business owner. So the business owner can be on a yacht, going through his stocks portfolio, assessing, his assets, and or just simply having a good time, knowing that his army of employers are actually making money for him. Now, the business owner actually has these people with their skills. The business owner is operating on the word leverage. He's leveraging on other people's time. He's leveraging on other people's resources. A business owner does not have to be the accountant, the COO, CO. He doesn't have to play those roles, because he can hire people to play those roles. So he's leveraging on the skills. Unlike the self-employed person, the other 35%, the entrepreneurs, the small-time business people that are running their own business, are actually self-employed. And what is lacking in those two business scenarios is leverage. You don't have leverage, as a small business owner working in your business. But the business owner, the real business owner, is employing leverage, to grow his business empire, and they are making money. And these people control they are just 4% of the entire population. Now we go to the other 1%, who are investors. I won't just say investors, but people that have the investor mindset. Now, the same thing that you have in the in the business owner system, the same word applies, for an investor or an investment-minded person, is the fact that they use leverage. Leverage is simply the word. Now, an investor is someone who leverages on opportunities. An investor has his money working for him. An investor has people working for him. An investor is essentially someone who sends his money on an errand. So investors employ an army of money. Money is their worker. Money is the one doing the job for them. So they can as well sleep, do things, have a wonderful lifestyle, because money, they have learned to employ money to work for them. Leverage, they are leveraging on their financial resources to make more money for them. And let me tell you something about money. Money is a very good servant, but is a terrible master. Is a terrible master. And people with an investor mindset are those who have learned the art of employing money as a servant. Meanwhile, the people that form 95% of the quadrant are people who have money as their master. They are controlled by money. Why do I say they are controlled by money? You look at how they their mindset about money. You look at how they don't take advantage of opportunity. You look at how they spend all their money before they think of investing. Meanwhile, an investor, a business owner, these people in the 5% of the quadrant, they actually, invest their money. When they are done investing their money, they can now think of how to spend their money, and what else to do with their money. So they are essentially not the same. Now, how can you be like, okay, I don't have the kind of money that an investor and a big business owner has, so how can I transit to be a business owner? How can I transit to be an investor? Now, you need to first of all transit in your mind by using, I tell people who are salary workers, who are small business owners, entrepreneurs, is that you first of all have to build the mindset. If you don't build the mindset, you cannot build the freedom. You first of all have to see the money that comes into your hands, your salary, is a tool. You can still be an employee and still operate in the quadrant of a business owner or an investor. What do you need to do? You need to look out for business systems that you can plug into. You look for business systems you can plug into. You look for investment opportunities that you can plug into. And please, when I'm talking about investment on this platform, I'm not talking about those get rich quick schemes that promise you 300% growth, overnight, and you go and dump money there, and your money flies overnight. People who are successful financially, they know that anything good actually requires time. Time is a denominator here. So when you see your own wealth, it is better you have wealth that grows slowly than than money that just comes overnight. There is, people that want to get rich quick, always end up getting burnt in the process. Yes, you can get rich quick, but it is not an overnight journey. It is a journey that takes time. It is a journey that takes planning. It is a journey that requires you investing in your mindset and learning about money, learning how money works, and positioning yourself in the quadrant that will allow you to maximize your opportunities. So that is the cash flow quadrant. And now, for people that you have little money, maybe your salary. I mean, for most people earning a salary or running a small business, there are a lot of costs that come to you running your small business, and there are a lot of costs that take up your income as a salary earner. So you find out, that money comes in, but you're not able to keep the money. For you to create wealth, you have to learn to make money. You have to learn to keep money. You have to learn to multiply money.